So, hi guys, welcome back to another video. Yeah, I know I didn't post a video yesterday over story time, and I'm really sorry about not doing that. I really am. But today we're reading from Welcome to My Sad Life, and we'll be reading chapter 11. I almost said the wrong number. Chapter 11. I sighed softly. Today's the day I talked to Jim with Gabriel. I don't trust this fully, but at the same time I trust it. I just have a feeling something bad is going to happen. We walked to the place where we were going to meet up, and I saw Jim Murray there. Hey, Jim, I said to him. Gabriel was right beside me if anything happens. Hey, Donnie. And Gabriel, look. I just really wanted to apologize for how I acted a few weeks ago. Donnie, your mom sent this to my house. She thought it would help you better understand yourself. Jim said, handing me a box. It was a small necklace box, I could tell. Why would my mom send me a necklace? I thought. There was a letter with it, too. And after our chat, I took the box home. I think I need an acupuncture session, said softly. If you think that will help. But please, take my phone with you. I have a house phone here so I can call you. Gabriel said when I was heading to the front door. I will. I already have it with me, I said, smiling. You adorable little thief, he said, smiling. And there was a pun there because, he was homeless, so it was a little bit of a pun there with him. With Dahi, because he was homeless. I giggled and went to the acupuncture guy in the city. His name was Wilson. I walked into the office. Hey, can I have an appointment? Yes. You. Yes, you. Wait, Dahi? He asked. How do you know who I am? I asked. He hugged me and smiled. I'm your dad's brother, he said softly. I didn't know my uncle was still here. I didn't know that any of my family was still here, I said softly. Me neither. Me neither, but why did you want to have an appointment? He asked, changing the subject. Need to clear my mind, I said softly. He nodded and led me over to the bed-like table. Take your hoodie off, shoes, socks, then lay down and close your eyes. Yeah, basically, when you are doing acupuncture, you have to take off all your kind of clothes aside from whatever, like a tank top. It's usually I think for guys, they have to take off all their clothes, but for women, we have to take off everything but the tank top, obviously, and the not boxers, the underwear. So with men, they can't take off their underwear, so that's what it is. Alright. He said, I did as he said. Now just breathe. You won't feel much pain from this, he said. I breathed normally and let him gently put the needles into me. I felt no pain, surprisingly. I couldn't feel anything, really. Do you feel anything? He asked. No, I don't. No, I do not, said to him. My eyes still closed. That's odd. Usually people do feel something when this happens, he said. Then there was silence. Chapter 12. I didn't open the letter or look at the box until I was alone. Gabriel was at work and I was home alone. I was alone at his house. I grabbed the box and the letter and sat down on the bed me and Gabriel shared and opened the letter. I was shocked by what I was reading. And this is from the letter. Donnie, I know you were upset at me and your father for leaving you like we did. But we had good reasons to. We didn't have enough money to bring you and your big brother. But we did have enough money and time to leave you something. I know you're curious about how you're able to shoot a wave of light from you. In order to figure that out, yeah. In order to figure that out, you need to figure out this riddle. You measure my life with hours, and I serve you by expiring. I'm quick when I'm thin and slow when I'm fat. What am I? Send me a letter back when you have solved all 5 riddles. You'll visit a special place when you do. Love, Mom. End of letter. I read over the letter again, thinking, you measure my life with hours, and I serve you by expiring. I'm quick when I'm thinking, and I'm slow when I'm fat. What am I? I puzzled that riddle in my head. Wait a minute. It's a candle. I said aloud to myself, the question is, who has the other 4 riddles? I should probably ask all the people who I know that know my family. I should start with my dad's brother. I got up from the bed and opened the necklace box. The necklace had a bottle with some crystals in it and a little arrow in it. Put the necklace on and headed to my uncle's office. Uncle? I asked. Yes, Donnie? My uncle asked, coming over to me. I explained to him the letter I got from my mom, and he smiled. Alright, you want my riddle? Don't you, kid? Next, I nodded. Well, before I tell you, you need to think about this. You can only find 3 riddles. 1 from me, your mom, and Jim. The other 2 are around the city. The last one will want you to visit a place with your lover, he said softly. I nodded, listening to everything he said. Alright, here's my riddle. What word in the English language does the following? The first 2 letters signify a male. The first 3 letters signify a female. The first 4 letters signify a great, while the entire word signifies a great woman. What is the word? He asked. I thought for a moment. I had written down the answer for the first riddle on a sheet of paper that's in my pocket. Is it a heroine? I asked, looking at him. You're not too bad at solving riddles. But yes, that's the word. That's the answer. He said, smiling. I left his place and headed for Jim's house. If I know one thing about Jim, he's home on Sundays. Alright, we're going to read 2 more chapters for today. So, we're going to read this one, chapter 14, and then chapter 15. That's 3, actually. But continuing on. So, chapter 13, I knocked on Jim's door once I arrived there. Jim, are you home? Jim opened the door shortly after I asked that. What is it, Donnie? He asked. Politely, I explained to him what was going on, and he smiled. Alright, tell you my riddle. And a hint for the 4th one. Which that'll lead you to the 5th one, he said softly. I nodded and waited to hear the riddle. What disappears as soon as you say its name? He asked. Silence, I said. He nodded and smiled. Alright, so here's the hint. It's in a place you've lived in before, yet no one can see it, he said. I waved goodbye to him and headed to where I knew this riddle was. I went back to the alleyway that I used to live in, and I closed my eyes. I ran my hands over the walls until I felt something on the right side. I laid my hand there and opened my eyes. I saw writing on the wall. How can the number 4 be half of 5? Is what the riddle said. The Roman numeral for the number 4. I said softly. If you look at the Roman numeral for 4, it's a V, but it's an IV. That's what it is in the Roman numerals, is IV. And in Roman numerals, 5 is just straight up V. So I thought I would mention that. I said softly and wrote it down. Then I saw the writing change. The last riddle can be found at the high school in the library. In a book on the very top shelf, the bookshelf in the back corner of on the right. The one on the back wall, is what it said. I went back home. Looks like I have to get the last riddle tomorrow, I said softly. I couldn't sleep much during the night. I felt strange. Gabriel? I asked him. Yeah? Are you okay, love? He asked. I feel strange, I said softly. He was laying beside me, thinking maybe I'm horny? I don't know. You got a tent in your pants, Donnie, he said. Which made me blush. I looked down, embarrassed. He grabbed my chin lightly. Donnie, I can help you with it. You know that, he said. I looked into his eyes. Please help me. Any way you please to, I said softly. You know I still have to claim you, he said with a smirk. I blushed and stared into his dark green eyes. He kissed my neck lightly and started stripping me. I looked at him again, seeing his skin shine. He had darker skin tone than me, and he had a smile on his face. I couldn't help but smile as well. Yeah, I didn't actually do a sex scene in this, but basically they do have sex. I just didn't do it because I was like, I felt like not doing it. It feels like this should be more like a seasonal anime kind of thing. But it's now chapter 14, so now we're going to continue. In the morning, I woke up a little numb on the lower half. I smiled and blushed, thinking about what happened last night. Can't believe we did it. Yeah, I could tell by your blushing face, Gabriel said, coming back into the room with 2 plates of breakfast. I parried at him, blushing a bit. I looked at the food he brought in and smiled at him. He smiled back and walked over to me. He kissed my head and placed a plate of food on my lap. I ate breakfast with him, smiling and talking to him. So did you enjoy last night? He asked. I nodded, smiling. I really enjoyed it. It was amazing, I said, smiling. It really was. Especially for your first time. For our first time, Gabriel said, smiling. I nuzzled him and continued to eat. After we ate, we got ready for school and headed to school. I headed to the library and looked in the area that the note from the riddle told me to. There was only one book in that shelf. I picked it up and looked through it. 3 words that are circled. The circled words must be the riddle, I said to myself. There's words that are circled. The words must be the riddle, I said to myself. I read the circled words. What English word has 3 consecutive double letters? I read over the riddle again. Bookkeeper. If you get the pun there, it's in a library. Bookkeeper. It's a pun. But I'll just continue. I said softly. I wrote it down on the paper I wrote all the other answers on. And I saw the book flip all the way to the back page to a picture of a lake. And I'll show you guys what the picture of the lake looks like. This is what the lake looks like. This is from Paint by Number. You know, right there. It says it right there. Which is a coloring app that I get all my pictures from. All my freaking book covers are from there. And any pictures that are in my stories that are not from, other stuff are from there too. Alright. Here you will find out the truth about yourself and Gabriel, is what it said. It also gave me directions. I wrote them down and looked around. No one was watching. No cameras were looking at me. Quietly ripped the page out and put it into my pocket. I then put the book back. After school, I told Gabriel about the last riddle. I told him that we're heading to the forest. I didn't tell him where we're going, because I feel like it's best not to tell. We walked to the entrance of the forest, hand in hand, and with our stuff that should last us 2 weeks to a month. Ready? I asked. He nodded. Yeah, I'm ready, dear.
Ginger ale,
Said smiling.
put it in the fridge.
Okay. We walked into the forest and walked in the direction that the note told me to. We walked a bit. We walked quite some time. What the head?
Said if I could find room, I got it in there.
Misty's curious.
Meaty.
I'm recording a video at the moment, but it's okay. Love you too, Father.
That's a meaty. Mwah. Be good for the doctors on Monday.
Yeah, she will be. She's always good. Mostly until it became close to night. Once it did, we climbed into a tree and took a nap in there. I hope this month doesn't get worse, I thought. Alright, chapter 15. This is going to be the last chapter I will be reading for today. Just thought I would let everyone know this. I woke up early in the morning, seeing Gabriel already down on the ground waiting for me. I climbed down the tree and kissed his cheek. Ready to move on? I asked. He nodded. Yes, I am, darling. He said, he seemed a bit uncomfortable with doing this, but I know he is doing this for me. He was doing this for me. Hey, are you sure you want to join me on this trip? You seem uncomfortable with doing this. I said, looking at him. Yeah, I'm sure. He suddenly said softly. I just sighed as we walked. I followed the directions the paper gave me. As we walked, I glanced up at Gabriel, seeing his face look like he just didn't want to go to where we were going, or just doesn't want to be in here in the forest. I mean, he didn't have to come. I would have been fine on my own, but I'm glad he's with me. Falling so hard for this mysterious man, I thought. Kissed his cheek and then we stopped to eat. Hey, I have a question for you, Donnie. Gabriel asked, looking at me. I looked up at him. Yeah, what is it? I asked, looking at him. What was your family like before they left you? He asked me. I was taken aback by this. They were the best family I could ever have. They made sure I was safe and that they loved me like I was the most important thing on the planet. I said, looking at him. He smiled softly. I'm glad that your family cared so much about you. My family was the opposite. When I turned 18, they started trying to find me a lover, and I didn't want to marry someone just for their looks, or because my parents think that they are a perfect match for me, you know? He said, I nodded, looking at him, but I shouldn't worry you about my family issues. It's not important because I've moved on from the past. I moved on past that. He said softly, looking down. Oh, I understand, I said softly. There was an uncomfortable silence for a moment until I decided to speak up. So what's your favorite color? I asked, looking up at him. It's red. He said, what about you? He asked. Mine's gray, to be honest. I said sadly, is it because it's a color that expresses something important to you? He asked. It expresses that no matter what, you're never just negative and sad or positive and happy. I said with a small smile. He chuckled a bit. Red represents my family to me. He said with a small smile. I nodded softly. Red is a pretty color, I said with a smile. And so that is the last chapter we are reading today. When we get back to reading this next week, we'll be reading from chapter 16 to 20. And you guys are going to see a huge plot twist happen in this story. But without further ado, I just want to say this. I love you all. I hope you guys have an amazing day. You guys stay wild and outcasty, okay? And make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this around. And if you're new, make sure to hit that little notification bell when you subscribe. I love you all. Have a great day.